Wild time.
Big news coming out of Australia. I did a thing on my Instagram about it today. Myself, you, Peter, you, Patrick, everybody watching this is going to get to see a thylacine in their lifetime.
Wow.
Take that.
What do you mean?
And put that in your
heard
pocket
about it. Heard about it.
So,
yeah.
the same company, I'm just blanking on their name right now. Doesn't matter. The same company that, and we just dissected this in depth on the pod, that is launching, the same company that is bringing back the woolly mammoth just got $5 million. I can't read that. It's tiny on my screen, but thank you. Colossus, thank you. Yeah, Colossus just got $5 million from a private funder in Australia and has paired up with a university there, and they are bringing the thylacine back. Now, this is what's interesting. I've seen people putting a lot of comments into this about, oh, we've heard this before and this kind of thing's bullshit and it never works, blah, blah, blah. They have complete DNA sequences of thylacine. There's no question about it. It's not like finding woolly mammoth or dinosaur and having this fragmented DNA that they then have to repair by putting in genomes of, other animals to make some Franken creature. This is like, hey, we had thylacine in our lifetime, right? Well, not really our lifetime, but very recently we have all of these skins and furs and genetic and tissue samples that are fully intact. We know, and we have, it's not the quoll any longer, it's some bilby, I believe, that we know is its closest living relative. We can make a thylacine. Like, it's not like maybe anymore. It's like they can do it. And they're going to. They just got $5 million to do it. So unless things go horribly wrong, nuclear war breaks out, God knows what, we're going to have thylacine around in like 10 years.
I'm pretty sure this is how Bebop and Rocksteady got created in the Ninja Turtles. So I'm kind of nervous about it.
Yeah, so they're so it's the bilby. So yeah, I saw that they were going to take stem cells from another marsupial species and then do gene editing to match it to basically create a thylacine embryo.
Is Kyle, if you can scroll down, it says it in there. I read it briefly. So it used to be that the spotted quoll was believed to be the closest living relative of the thylacine. And then just about 4 years ago, somebody found out, hey, it's not the spotted quoll. I think it's a bilby, or it's not what is it? It says it in the article somewhere. There is a closer living relative than the spotted quoll. And I can't remember what small marsupial it is, but it's another small marsupial. And they're like, that's what we needed. The Dunnart, there it is. The fat-tailed Dunnart. See it there, Kyle? Maybe pull up a picture. Fat-tailed Dunnart is the closest living relative of the thylacine. They only figured this out maybe 3 years ago. And I remember when that news came out, it was like, oh, okay, that's not that exciting.
Really?
It's like, so what, basically.
Right.
I love that that's the closest relative to the thylacine, which is the size of a dog, and it's a titmouse.
Isn't that bizarre?
It really is.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
I mean, the gene editing stuff is, there's a ton of companies that have IPO'd in the last 3 to 5 years that are gene editing companies that, lots of billionaires poured money into, because the thought is that could be the future of cancer research, or even curing cancer one day, is just gene editing.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean,
amazing,
this is,
dude.
For me, like, I don't even know how to articulate this. It's the most exciting news without putting like all of my anticipation for it being fruitful that I've heard in the last 10 years. Like I was just like, no way. And this is entirely from a selfish standpoint, because it means that sometime in my son's lifetime, I will take my family and we will fly to Tasmania and we will go and sit there and watch a thylacine get fed a carcass or something like that. And it won't be quite the same thing as finding one in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, but the fact that I can almost say with certainty that I'm going to get to go and see a thylacine in my lifetime, like for me, that's like as big as it gets.
What?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot that still has to go right.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
I mean, they couldn't even, they said that it was going to take 3 years to build the stadium that the Rams played, and it took 6, right? Like that, and that's just making a building. Right. But yeah, there's a lot. Remember when they cloned the sheep? Dolly the sheep?
Dolly. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was a mess, right? Didn't Dolly die at like 6 months old or something?
Correct. Did not do well. Yeah.
So do you think there's any chance of that happening?
I do. And that's the thing, is like a lot of people have like reached out to me and they're like, hey, what happens if this happens? I'm no gene specialist. I don't know anything about, that's like not my field of study at all. Do I think that there's a possibility it'll go wrong? 100%. I think it will go wrong. Nothing's going to go according to plan. I still believe that the technology has advanced so much, and the whole CRISPR gene editing thing has come such a long way that they're going to get it right. And the fact that there's been $5 million donated already before this has even been publicly announced, like I will donate a third of my net worth to it right now and then be very poor, but that's totally worth it to me. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's got to be other people that feel that way as well. And so my point is, I think this will come to fruition. I think the entirety of Australia wants this to happen. I think it's just like it's too important for it not to come to fruition.
What makes this so important versus bringing back like a different animal? And also a second question: what have they never done anything like this before? Is this the first time they're actually bringing? Okay,
yes. So this has never been done before. Certainly not to the. Nothing has been de-extincted through gene editing and CRISPR and whatnot before ever. The second question, what makes this so important? One, from a selfish standpoint, I get to go, haha, Neil Waters, you didn't find it. But no, I'm joking. But from a selfish standpoint, it's because I get to see a thylacine and this iconic creature gets to return. From a much larger and more significant viewpoint, we are righting our wrongs. We drove this animal to extinction unjustly because we labeled it as a killer and a murderer and all these things that it wasn't. It was just an animal being an animal. And we literally put bounties on its head and drove it to extinction super unjustly, like unethically, unjustly, call it whatever you like. And further to that, by doing that in Tasmania, we caused a massive, massive problem with overpopulation of marsupials that now have unbelievable diseases, rampant facial tumor disease, all these things, because there is no biocontrol. There is no predator that is keeping the population of these marsupial herbivores in check. And so I don't think either of you guys have been to Tasmania, but if you drive down the road in Tasmania, it is unbelievable. I know, Patrick, we've talked about this from New Zealand. The roadkill, I mean, you cannot go more than 10 foot without roadkill on the road because the population has just exploded. And when you have that many of anything left unregulated, it's terribly imbalanced in the environment. So we are going to fix everything. It's one of the comments I'm getting, like, leave nature alone. Like, we shouldn't mess with that.
It's like, we already did.
We did. That's right. We already fucked it up. Like, all we're doing is repairing something that we broke. And like, I'm not saying bring back dinosaurs. I think that's a terrible idea. We didn't break the dinosaurs. We broke the thylacine, the dodo, the Haast eagle, so on and so forth. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Wild times.
So if you want more behind-the-scenes stuff that we cannot show on YouTube, Darwin Awards, video breakdowns, and reviews, check out the Patreon. It's full of hours and hours of incredible exclusive content, stuff that you guys are going to love. Swipe up, click the link, do the thing, come and hang out on Patreon. See you guys there.